Update: my wife admitted to poking holes in my condoms. Original post: I have no one to talk to about this. I just want to type it out to make more sense of it. My wife, Pam, and I are both 35. We met back in college and have been married for 6 years. Even when we were just good friends, I was always vocal about my indifference to children. I wanted to focus on my career and figure myself out before I even thought about bringing a human into this world. Pam was aware of this when we started dating, but she was slowly starting to get me to ease into the idea of kids. I knew our values were different, and it's my fault for continuing things, but I loved her so much. She is my best friend, and she helped me out of the worst period of my life. About 2 years into our marriage, Pam became pregnant from what I believe to be a freak accident. Obviously, I didn't leave or get mad at her, just wanted to preface that. I took care of her and supported her throughout the entire pregnancy. Pam gave birth to my twin baby girls. They are my world, plain and simple. I feel sad and alone even after just a little work trip without them. Pam became a stay-at-home mother, something I was completely fine with. Recently, Pam became pregnant again, intentionally this time, and she was starting to become distant and had a look of shame whenever I tried to talk or be intimate with her. I have been trying to be the best husband possible, but she always insisted she was fine and tried to distract me by talking about our girls. I came home from work to find Pam slouched over crying in our bed. Our daughters were spending the night with my sister, so we were alone. When I came over to comfort her, she started sobbing about how sorry she was. After I consoled her enough to speak, she explained that she had poked holes in my condoms when we had sex when she first got pregnant with our baby girls. She didn't try to justify herself, just went on about how she was a piece of trash and it deserved me, the girls, or the baby. She was practically hyperventilating. I consoled her for the sake of the baby, but I was, and still am, angry. I've been sleeping in a guest room. I know that this is technically sexual assault, but I hate the idea of only seeing my daughters and baby half the time. Pam hasn't left our room since. I have to make her dinner after work. She looks so broken, saying that she'll move out if that's what I want. She's pregnant, so obviously I don't, but I'm still incredibly mad and sad. I still love her. I've known her for a decade and a half. She's been nothing but loving and supportive, and until now, very transparent with me. I just wanted to type this out to make sure my feelings, which I know are justified, are truly justified. My little girls have been the only reason I'm not breaking down and sobbing. I know I'm weak for thinking about forgetting about this. I'm still thinking about divorcing my wife after the baby is born, but I would still want her to live with me. I know, pathetic. I'm taking the next few days off work. Now for the top comments before reading the update. There's absolutely nothing pathetic about being hurt by and still wanting someone you love. People do stupid, horrible things, especially when they're hyper-focused. It sounds like your wife has issues with her betrayal, and she's attempting to take ownership of what she's done. Before you divorce her, think about if that's what you want. Don't worry about what you think others would expect you to do. If you are willing to forgive her and give her the opportunity to earn your trust back, then that's what you should do. It sounds like you're rightfully pissed off, but it also sounds like you're more concerned with your family and keeping them together. If that's ultimately what you want and you can live with it, then that's what you should do. If you know you can't get past it, then make the necessary changes for what you're able to accept. If it's divorce, it's divorce. My point here is that you don't have to leave because you believe that's what is expected or what you should do. If you leave, make it because it's what you actually want. Also, give it some time before you make a decision. You don't want to decide your future when you feel angry, hurt, and betrayed. I really hope things work out for you. I wish you the best. Thank you for the take based on reality. It feels like too many people get too hung up on doing what's expected of them. Real life is never so black and white, even for situations where one has been clearly wronged. I agree. That was excellent advice, and you're totally right about things not being black and white. Reddit is notorious, in my opinion, for having these really strong right and wrong takes, and life is just so much more complicated than that. I'm a woman, child-free by choice. I've always been so careful with my birth control, and I don't think I would be able to come back from finding out a partner sabotaged it. I also don't know that, in your situation, with children I'm attached to and another on the way, I would be willing to append my life and have them in primary custody of the person who did that. But again, I am not sure I could forgive it. I don't have advice regarding divorce or working it out. I will say that I would consider a vasectomy, particularly if you decide to stay. Even if you are able to forgive it, I don't think you should trust that again. The absolute hell with him considering a vasectomy. She should be the one sterilized, if anything. Why should he be sterilized because he was the victim of sexual assault? Now for the updates. Mini update. I'm going to bed. This entire situation is draining. I realized that I need to talk to my wife about this immediately and can't just leave things in the air. I will also look into getting therapy immediately. Thanks again for your advice. Update. This is a given, but thank you for taking the time to read and respond to the ramblings of my current situation. From giving me advice and telling me to suck it up, thank you. I'm 100% going to couples therapy with Pam and also therapy for myself. She's doing better, not as stressed out as she was before. No, I am not throwing Pam out of the house while she is 5 months pregnant. She's still being a recluse in our room, making me have to do her usual responsibilities. I was able to have a nice outing with my little girls. We saw Moana too. Lol. I guess I'm just here to say that I'm doing fine and we'll be getting professionals to help us through this. The simple matter of fact is that Pam betrayed me, but I still love her so much. Some people were telling me to DNA test my children, but there have been no signs of any affairs. I don't think I could even handle that kind of news if it were true. Even if we do end up getting divorced, I will never tell our family about what Pam did. She's still the mother of my children, and I don't want my family to think less of her. The same goes for my daughters. I don't want them to think they're the product of something like that, and I especially don't want them to think that I resent them. That's all, I guess. You're being an extremely generous person in this situation. I'm glad you and Pam are doing the work with therapy and trying to bridge this situation. Personally, the fact that your wife is still being a recluse and having you take care of everything at home really grinds my gears. She was the one who wronged you, and somehow she is the one acting like the victim and withdrawing from everything? The shoe really should be on the other foot, and she should be the one giving you space to process everything. I do think that you need to allow yourself to feel the emotions you want to feel. You seem to be doing the guy thing of being very outwardly focused on making sure your girls are taken care of, that the household is continuing to run, and solving problems that come up. I'm concerned you're focusing on everyone else so you don't have to deal with your own emotions, and eventually, you'll hit a boiling point. One small thing Pam does or doesn't do will set you off, and you'll explode on her. Then suddenly, you're the angry man yelling at your wife, and you're the bad guy. Don't put yourself in that position. I agree with all of this. OP, you have to ask, why did she tell you when she did? Why has she closed herself off to you? There are more details to uncover here, so please be prepared for it as best you can. OP, I am a mother to 3, and while I would never do what your wife did, there is also no way in hell I would shut my husband out and force him to do all my jobs as a stay-at-home mom on top of his actual job while I throw myself a pity party for wronging him. I'm imagining her guilt has made her depressed. Not that it makes any of what she did better, but it would explain why she's acting that way now. The way I see it, it's perfectly normal for her to feel bad about it, but I don't like her locking herself in her room and playing the victim. She stays there crying and moping around while you, who were lied to, have to get on with it all. If your wife feels so guilty, she should do something about it. I find it terrible that she plays the victim role. You were hurt by her actions, but you are the one who comforts her. That is wrong. You say couples therapy and that you're going to therapy, but you don't say whether your wife is seeing a therapist. That's an essential part of this. It would be wrong of me to try to say what's going on in her head, but it seems apparent that there's something wrong. The root cause of her desperate action may not have anything to do with you. For example, if a person were afraid of losing their partner, they might do something to try to keep them. But having a fear so big that it could motivate her to do something so life-changing, it seems there's a serious problem there, whether depression or some other issue. You need to start exploring this before she has the baby in order to prepare. Depression is seldom cured by childbirth. Next story. My 38 male wife, 35 female, lost a lot of weight to gain the attention of her work crush. How do I move forward? After we had our kids, my wife gained a lot of weight, about 80 pounds. Honestly, I was fine with it. I thought she was still hot, and my desire for intimacy never waned. For a while, she was fine with her weight too. Fast forward 5 years, and all of a sudden, my wife gets really into fitness and nutrition. She buys a Peloton, goes on a strict diet, and loses all the weight, and then some. She looks like she did when I met her in her early 20s. She looks great, but like I said, I thought she looked great heavy too. Then one day last week, she comes home from work and I can tell something is really bothering her. I ask what's wrong, but she's evasive and distant. This lasts a few days before she finally breaks. She tells me that the reason she was so determined to lose weight was that she wanted attention from a guy at work she has a crush on. She said that all the women have a crush on this guy, and she just wanted his attention. Well, apparently she got too much of it on the day she came home so upset. He had apparently been flirting with my wife for a few weeks, and that day he asked her if she wanted to have dinner with him after work at a restaurant that just so happens to be in a hotel. He heavily implied that they could get a room afterward or even skip the restaurant and just get room service. She tells me that up to this point, it was all just fantasy in her head, but now it was real, and she snapped out of it. She realized that she'd gone way too far. She declined his invitation, of course, and felt she needed to confess what she'd done to me. I was crushed and still am. First, I'm actually upset she told me. I know this is some form of cheating, but I didn't suspect anything. She could have just kept this to herself and not passed her burden on to me. So the thought comes to my mind that maybe she wants me to dump her so she can be with this guy, and that's why she is telling me. So I ask her that and she breaks down crying. That's not what she wants. She says she loves me and just wanted to be honest with me and apologize. Nothing physical happened, I'm pretty sure of it. I can track her phone and also have a pretty free access to it. She never hides it, leaves it everywhere, and that phone never leaves work. I suppose she could be cheating on her lunch break and leave the phone, but I just don't think she'd leave the phone and not be available for the kids. So I don't think I want the divorce. I love her, and we have kids. But it's just eating at me that she did all the work she did to be attractive for another man. I don't know where to go or even what to ask of her. I just need some advice. You need couples counseling ASAP. Without that, a clear path forward will be tough to find unless something else happens. No, this is over. She has been emotionally cheating for months and was very close to taking it further. This would not be some overnight journey. She has been actively going after the guy's attention and flirting with him for months now. A bit of attention or harmless flirting this is not. This is well beyond that. And the flirting got heavy enough that the guy proposed a hotel hookup with a married woman. Unless she was hiding that she was married from him, which only makes this even worse. This is well beyond getting any couples counseling. He needs to simply get out. There is absolutely no excuse or valid reason for going after another man or woman actively for months at a time and flirting to beat the competition at work. Not to mention, the husband has been nothing but supportive. He continued to love her, said she was still hot, and was only supportive of her weight gain/loss. This is just not acceptable from your wife or husband. Honestly, the main thing that should stick out is that she did all of this to get the attention of another man. She claims she didn't go through with it, but honestly, it sounds like trickle truth. Personally, I don't think I could be with someone who committed so heavily for what I imagine must have been an extended period of time to lose 80 pounds for another man, when the man she had loved her no matter her weight. Think about it. All that time she was focusing on her health, she was really focusing on getting another guy. Don't matter if she went through with it or not. I'm waiting for the update of, turns out my wife actually did go up to his hotel room, and it's only when they moved from foreplay to sex did she realize how wrong it all was. She definitely needs therapy individually to explore what caused that behavior, then couples counseling to work on being a better couple together. If you can't move on after that, at least you tried. Last story. My parents named me after a fantasy TV show character, and it's deeply affected my life. I was born just after the first season of the show. They decided to name me after one of the main characters, but it's not her actual name. Instead, it's her title. It's pretty dumb. I've been bullied and made fun of because of it in school. You can probably guess what it is. It's from a dark fantasy TV show with lots of swords and a big throne. When I was growing up, I liked the name because of how unique it is. I remember a teacher asking me if I was telling the truth when I told her my name when I was about 6-ish. I didn't really understand stuff like that back then. I'm considering getting my name changed, but it feels a little wrong to do so. I do feel like it is my own name and my parents did name me that. Because of my name, I got into horses and horseback riding. Emulation, I suppose. I am who I am because of it, but the bullying recently is getting to me. Lots of riding jokes. I don't hate my parents or anything, but I did feel angry at them today over it. Now for the comments. Wow, the Khaleesi's are old enough to post on Reddit? Boy, am I old. Recently saw Moana 2, and when the credits started rolling, one of the child voice actors' name is Khaleesi. Oof, my friend named her kid Daenerys before the end of the show. She's probably in middle school by now. I dislike my name too. It's unisex, so very often people who haven't met me assume I'm the opposite gender. My name is more often used as a nickname, so people assume I have a real name other than that. I can't complain to my parents because they said it was a name my late uncle who died when I was 2 suggested. It came from a Beatles song. Many years ago, after the mini-series Roots was shown, there was a couple in my town who named their son Kunta Kinte. Years later, in the personal section of the paper, I saw a public notice that said Kunta Kinte wanted to change his given name to John. I hope his parents didn't do a reverse Roots and whip him for insisting his name is John and not Kunta Kinte. Would have been pretty fun if it changed it to Toby though. This post should be pinned in every baby name sub. Yeah, I feel like some parents don't get the idea of just how impactful a name actually is. It's the child who will actually be called that. Update. Am I wrong for not giving my cheating wife another chance? Original post. Me 39 male and my wife 33 female have been together for 13 years. She recently went away on a girls' trip. I was not worried at all. I've never had a reason to distrust her. She has never done anything to give me a cause for concern. And it's not like she was even going abroad. She was going to a Butlins half an hour away for God's sake. She went with her sister and a few other girls. She called me up this morning and I didn't expect anything other than her checking in. She's only been one night of a 3-night trip. When I answered, she was crying and incoherent. When I finally calmed her down, she told me she had slept with someone else the night before. Supposedly, she met a guy who she approached. They flirted a little and danced together, and she thought that was as far as it would go. But he supposedly just charmed her into a kiss, which turned to making out, which turned her to asking him to walk her back to her hotel, which turned into them doing the deed. She says nothing was amiss. It wasn't pushy or weird, and they actually did it multiple times, because she would say they need to stop and he would stop immediately, and then after a few minutes she'd want him to carry on and he would. And he supposedly never even finished because of the stop/starting. This supposedly went on for 3 hours, and she eventually said stop for good and asked him to leave, and he did. The guy is supposedly 10 years younger than her, and she said she lied and told him she was going through a divorce. She says she doesn't know what came over her, and she just wanted to see if she still had it, but got carried away. 14 years, married for 10, and we have a 7-year-old daughter. I want to leave her. She's begging me not to, offering marriage counseling, never going out again, never drinking again, etc., etc. But I've always been a one-chance sort of guy. I just told her to go screw herself, and have been ignoring her since about 10 a.m. Now her friends and sister are calling me too. They apparently had no idea she'd even gone home with him. They saw them talking but thought nothing of it. I just want them all to leave me alone. I told my mom about it and she said I should think of my family and that my wife seems genuinely remorseful and didn't try and hide anything and came clean straight away. That it's not like she had an affair and that as bad as it is, this is best case scenario. After that conversation, I feel like I'm insane. Am I wrong for not even considering forgiving her? Now for the top comments before reading the update. You're not wrong at all. She broke your trust. Now every time she goes anywhere, will she do this again? And she didn't hook up with him one time. She told you it was multiple times. Turn your phone off and take your daughter out for a meal. Spend time with her before your wife gets home and starts love bombing you both and strong arming you. She approached the guy. She invited him to her room. She did him multiple times. Kind of weird that she felt so remorseful afterward, isn't it? I'm betting someone else on that trip threatened to tell her husband if she didn't. And on day one of the girl's trip? Wonder if she used protection with all that stopping and starting again and again. Also, think his mom cheated, and that's why she's like, it's fine, it wasn't an affair. Best case scenario is his wife kept it in her pants, mom. She didn't. So she's willing to not only nuke her marriage and family, she's willing to expose herself and you to all kinds of diseases. She sounds unhinged. As for your mother telling you to think of your family, why does that advice apply to you? You have done no wrong. Your wife threw her family off the roof. She's the one who should be getting a lecture. Why is everyone blowing up your phone? Why are you the bad guy? Why is it everyone and their mother berating and ridiculing your wife? Why are you supposed to roll over and take it? Why do you need to be a doormat? Call a divorce lawyer now. Don't expose yourself to any germs she may drag home. She told her affair partner that she was going through a divorce. Time to make an honest woman of her and divorce her. Best, most succinct answer. I do agree. The sad part is you can almost bet she's long had a desire to try out someone else in the bedroom. Her girl's trip just gave her the perfect excuse. I seriously doubt it was out of the blue in one night. There's a chance it could be, but I'd go with her having been thinking about it. That part hit me. She had her hook already before meeting that guy. She knew exactly what she wanted to say to convince some random that she was single and up for it. That means she'd been thinking about it for some time before actually doing it. This wasn't the spur of the moment overwhelming feelings as the wife is claiming. The specific guy wasn't planned, but the cheating was. Trust is broken. You are not wrong. Some will do marriage counseling, but I personally couldn't forgive this. 3 hours of deception is a long time, and she knew it was wrong. I'm so sorry, Opie. I get the one and done 100%. 3 hours is crazy. That's not just a mistake or lapse in judgment. Now for the update. So my wife came home tonight after giving me the day to cool off. I asked to see the guy. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a sucker for punishment. And of course, he looks like a superhero. So that's great. Guy looks like Anthony Joshua or something. For the record, my wife is beautiful. Like perfect teeth, works out regularly, etc. I'm not ugly, but I'm just a typical English guy. Not overweight, but could probably lose a few pounds. Bit of a dad bod, etc. Still have a full head of hair, which is nice. I always felt so lucky to be with her. She was an amazing partner, an amazing mother, funny, intelligent, etc. I asked her to lay out what happened to me in more detail. I wanted to catch any lies/changes in the story/test her consistency. She basically says she was at the bar and a guy was stood next to her. They glanced at each other and she said, "Where did you came from?" to him. He asked what she meant, and she said he was the first handsome man she'd seen. And that's how the conversation got started. As for her telling him she was divorcing, that happened when he glanced down, noticed her ring, and asked her about it. Apparently, once she said that, he went on to say, "Not like I care either way." What a gent. I asked if she thinks he could have slipped her anything, and she says it's impossible, because they only did shots together. I asked if she took any drugs, and she admitted to doing coke with her friends, which isn't all that surprising. If you're from the UK and you're into drinking culture, it's pretty standard. A few of you seem to be American, so let me explain what exactly a Butlins is. It's basically a holiday resort, usually for families, but they sometimes host adult-exclusive weekends where it's a pretty big party place. It's cheap and grimy and can be a lot of fun. People dress up, there's DJs, live music, multiple venues, and late-night entertainment, etc. As for people saying she got caught by her friends, she actually didn't. She disappeared with a guy and went home with him. Texted her friends she was tired and wanted to go to sleep, and as they were on the resort and the hotel is like a 3-minute walk, they all just said to text when she was safe in her room. She was sharing a room with her sister, but she was in their other friend's room, drinking and doing coke because they thought she was sleeping. She told the guy to leave at around 6 a.m. because she thought her sister might be coming back soon, as that's when the party usually winds down. I asked her how many times she did it with a guy, and she said 4 or 5, lasting between 5 to 10 minutes each time. Apparently, even after cheating, she never thought she'd sleep with a guy. She says she just wanted to give him oral, so she did that. But the guy said he could only finish if he goes all the way. She didn't believe him, until 20 minutes later she still wasn't done, so she gave up and climbed on top of him. But then after about 5 minutes, she thought, "What the heck am I doing?" and got off him. then laid there and cuddled him and drank more, and then 10 minutes later they would be touching each other again. This repeated 4 or 5 times. She says that she kept thinking it was wrong, but then would think it's too late now anyway, so might as well carry on, and basically go through a loop of that. I asked her why she felt the need to see if she still had it, and she says since she hit 30, she's been self-conscious of her aging. That when she spots a new wrinkle or something, it drives her to tears. She said that chatting to the guy made her feel young again, and she latched onto that. Also, apparently the guy was there with a girl, who my wife said looked like a younger version of herself. And the guy pointed her out to my wife and said, "That girl over there watching us has a crush on me," and laughed about it. After he had been talking to my wife for like 30 minutes, the girl had enough, walked over, and kicked the table, spilling the guy's drink and then stormed off. She says that a guy picking her over a younger woman drove her ego crazy, and that was when she decided to kiss him. I asked her why she even told me, and she said that when she woke up, she saw I'd sent a selfie of me and our daughter eating pizza together, and it sent her into a nervous breakdown. That she was wailing and sobbing so loud, it woke up her sister, and that's when she confessed. Her sister told her she was insane for what she did, and wasn't very comforting, and then left her room mad at her, which made it worse. And that's when she called me. I've asked her to leave the house for a few days, and she's staying at her mother's house while I decide what I want to do. She begged me not to make her leave, but she did when I said it was the least she could do after blowing up our entire lives over wrinkles making her sad. As for my mother, she still thinks I should forgive her. For context, my dad died about a year ago, and my wife has really been a rock for my mom. I cannot see her as much as I would like due to my work, but my wife is a self-employed lash/nail tech and has a lot of free time, which she uses to spend with my mom. To keep her company, do her hair, and have girly days to try and make sure she doesn't get lonely. Like I said, she was such a perfect partner. No, I don't think my mom is a cheater or whatever, and she's very angry at my wife. But she loves her and she just wants everything to be okay. My daughter has no idea what is happening. She was already asleep when my wife came and went again. She will just think mommy's still on holiday. I still have no idea what I'm going to do. Honestly, I'm still reeling. But that's basically everything. Do people just have no self-control? You have to want to be in control to do so, unfortunately. I don't understand people who cheat for an ego boost. A good-looking person wants to use me so they can get off, and that suddenly means I'm worthy? Get the heck out of here! Especially for a woman, it's so easy for a woman to find no-strings-attached hookups, no matter what she looks like. If by got it she means still a sucker, then sure. Right? Also, if it really just the ego boost, the fact they approached you should be enough. You say thanks but no thanks and carry on. Wife is 100% holding some other reason back. Soon-to-be ex only regrets what she did because her life is now crumbling around her. She blew up her life, OP's life and her daughter's life due to her selfishness. No sympathy for her. She was looking for an ego boost and was willing to get it at a cost of the people who love her. A new wrinkle set her off? Yeesh. So much for growing altogether. Ever since she turned 30, she's starting worrying about aging and wrinkles. Oh, is she in for a shock? Signed, a 70-year-old woman. Nah, that was just a weak excuse she came up with after the fact. She wanted to fool around. And coke probably wasn't great for impulse control. Opie will be better off without her. But I hope Opie can keep a close eye on things with his ex when she has their daughter. I would be distinctly uncomfortable knowing my child was in the care of a regular coke user. Last story. Am I the a-hole for feeling insecure and confronting my wife after she gave her number to a guy at a cultural event? Hello Reddit. This is a throwaway account, as my wife also see my posts on the main one. I'm reaching out because I need some outside perspective on something that happened last night, which has left me feeling quite conflicted. My wife attended a cultural event with some friends, and this morning, after I asked if anything happened that I should be aware of, she mentioned that a guy, a friend of her friend, had asked for a kiss towards the end of the night. She assured me she declined his request. This revelation made me feel insecure, prompting me to ask her a series of questions. I appreciate her honesty in telling me about this incident without any prompting, which clearly shows she was trying to not hide anything from me. However, my insecurities got the better of me, and I asked if she had added him on any social media platforms, to which she answered no. Later that day, I saw a notification on her phone from this man, thanking her for giving him her number and expressing how much he enjoyed meeting her. I confronted her about this. I want to clarify that my confrontation was not out of a belief that she did anything wrong, but rather because I felt that she should have mentioned she had given out her number when I asked about social media. She explained that everyone exchanged numbers at the beginning of the event before he had made any advances, and she didn't think it was significant to mention, especially since she had forgotten about it by the time I asked. She is now upset with me for what she perceives as possessive behavior. I admit that my insecurities led me to ask multiple questions, but I still believe that asking such questions is part of a healthy relationship dynamic, especially when feeling uneasy about a situation. Am I the a-hole for feeling insecure about the situation and confronting my wife for not telling me she gave out her number, despite initially being upfront about another advance from the same guy? Edit for clarification. I was on the couch with her when she received the first message, so she never replied to him. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. I would ask her to block the number and delete it, as this man has no respect for your marriage and will likely keep contacting her. If I do this, then I will probably be accused of being possessive, right? I'm always stuck on expectations that I can't say out loud because it becomes forced or toxic if forced. Don't let people who are out to destroy your marriage into your lives. This man has already shown his intentions. His wife is the freaking problem here, not the guy. What is mind-boggling is that she gave another man her personal cell phone number. How the heck did she not realize that this behavior is problematic? OP should ask her how she would feel if he gave his phone number to a random woman at an event and then said woman ask for a kiss. I am married 20 plus years. I respect my husband and boundaries. If a man asks for my number and for some reason they miss the wedding ring, I say I am married, smile, walk away. She gave him the number before his behavior, so not a big deal there. But after asking to kiss her and then messaging her, she should not respond and block his number out of respect for her marriage. That isn't being possessive. I'm so sick of hearing this BS nonsense about controlling or possessive people while actively disrespecting their marriages. Pathetic. If she wants to entertain other men, she can do it single. Thank you. I don't know if it's a generational thing or an empowerment thing or what, but I see it on here all the time. Don't let people that don't respect your partner or your relationship into your life. It's that simple. It's not controlling to expect your significant other to abide by this. Yeah, that's a big not the a-hole. Him having her number isn't a big deal. It became a big deal when he made a pass at her and she didn't tell you about it. Now, people are human, but her reaction makes me think it wasn't as one-sided as she is making it seem. If it were a mistake, likely the response would be, oh crap, I completely forgot we all exchanged numbers. Ew, not going to reply to him. But she attacked you instead. Yeah, that's what got me insecure actually. I clearly asked her, and later on saw the exact moment the first message arrived. She says that it's a hard work to always have to describe everything that happens whenever she goes out, and is genuinely upset at me for making a big deal out of this. Nah, a dude trying to kiss her is a big deal. If she's not making a big deal of it, I'm concerned. How do I, 36 male, make my wife, 38 female, tell me who is sending food to her at her workplace on a daily basis? Original post. Details? This is a first, since in 10 years together there hasn't been a single jealousy-induced fight, since neither of us are of the jealous type. I was cheated pretty bad by another person. She knows this and knows I'm insecure about it. So we both are pretty open about our friends and families to avoid misunderstandings between us. Until she started to get all secretive with this specific matter. She stopped eating the food I cooked for her because someone pays for her food now. The catch? There aren't any coworkers in her office. She does consultation at her own little one-person place, and everything else is managed off-site by the company she's working for. Now, why am I making a big deal out of it? It was not a big deal, till it was. I was super happy for her because maybe some client were so satisfied with the service that they sent her food in gratitude. It was a bi-monthly occurrence at best, and she used to tell me, hey, this client sent me some Starbucks. Nice. Or, wow, other client's mother made me a sandwich and some jello. But then it became bi-weekly, and then she stopped knowing who sent her the now expensive food. And nowadays it's daily. She always returns my food to me when she gets home, gone all bad because she didn't eat any. I don't make a big deal, but I stopped making jokes about it like, hey, tell them to send some for me too, or things like that, because it started to annoy me that she doesn't eat my food and let it go bad. I'm a pretty good cook and I hate wasting food. And it got weird when she started to show off that the food someone sent to her is better, meaning costly and restaurant-made. It started as an annoyance about wasting food, but what triggered my insecurity about this is that one day after she sent me the usual picture, I told her, "Surprise, I went ahead and sent you that from my place." And she replied all annoyed, "Haha, funny. I know it wasn't you." Wink. Ask her, "Who is it then?" Her answer, I don't know." So she doesn't believe it was me, but doesn't know who it was. The second catch? They always send her things pretty specific to her likings. I may be paranoid, but most items she gets are things that she has to tell someone she likes, since it is not generic expensive food, but menu items catered to her palate, or drinks prepared exactly how she likes them. She could be ordering herself, but she denies it, like it would kill her to tell me. She knows I don't mind. I just don't want wasting food. If she's ordering food for herself, why doesn't she tell me? I told her it wouldn't be a problem since that way I can save food at home and won't wake up as early, but she still denies and still doesn't know who it is. It's the first time I get this type of treatment from her. Why be so secretive about some food? She knows it gets worse if you hide this type of deals instead of being just open about it. Like, it's some weird client obsessed with sending me food, or it's my mom/brother/friend/the company. She could have lied like that, and it would be enough to stop me from asking her every time, "Nice, but who is sending you this?" And instead, decided being all mysterious and mischievous about it. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Nobody is sending food, especially expensive food, to their friend every single day. Whoever is doing it is romantically interested in her. And she fully knows who it is. Don't be naive. She won't tell you who, because she either likes the food, likes the attention, or both. Hopefully there's nothing more going on than some free food. Right? I tried to not obsess over it, but she started getting super secretive knowing that's an obvious trigger for me, an overall people who has been cheated. Instead of just telling the truth or even lying. I would have instantly believed anything she told me if that was the case, and despite knowing that, she still decides to be secretive. Damn, I'll even be fine if she outright tells me, "Look, it's some guy/gal that seems to have feelings for me. Don't worry, I'm just in for the food." And she fully knows I won't have any problem with it. That's how much I trust her. What I don't like are the little secret tee-hee like that, because I get paranoid about it. You need to sit down with her and tell her that this secretive thing isn't funny anymore, and it's making you really skeptical and making you feel unsafe in your own relationship. If her response is to call you insecure and not explain herself, then the answer is right in your face. "Yeah, I'll do this later when she gets home." If she says, "Okay, it's me," meaning she's buying for herself, have her show you the receipts. Otherwise, she's gaslighting you to get you off her back. And if that's the case, you may have bigger problems on your hands. Had she tell me that at the very start of this issue, I wouldn't snoop more. But at this point, you are right. If she tells me that now, I'll be asking for receipts. Mini update. She's about to come home in an hour or so I'll try to talk to her seriously one last time before getting matters onto my own hands. I don't like snooping, but most of you recommend I will have to if I want some real answers, even if it means hiring a PI or following people around. I'll update whenever I can after the allowed time. Now for the first update. So, this isn't worth its own post. It went begrudgingly faster than I anticipated. I'm with a friend right now. Ask him for some space so I could write a little, or a ton, and tomorrow I'll be at my parents'. Believe it or not, I'm not angry or destroyed or any of that. I'm just sad and tired and want to puke, and want to write something to vent. You're also not gonna believe this. To the person who told me this is almost like a sitcom, WTF, this is freaking a sitcom? You were right, and you'll see why soon. I told and asked her some of the things some of you told me I could say to her before starting my own investigation. I'm a calm person, so usually, doesn't matter the topic, a talk about it never comes as rude. This is important because I don't want you to think that I screamed at her or something like that. I don't want you to picture me as a saint, but I'm as non-violent as a person can be. Her reaction was as bizarre as this whole crap. Long story short, or a short story long, I asked her why she is accepting food from strangers, and she started verbally abusing me. Don't worry if you don't believe me. It came out of nowhere. It's like she exploded out of freaking nowhere. As I wrote in another comment, yeah, we fight like any couple, but she never abused me or insulted me or my family. Again, this was a first. I guess I was not pressing enough for asking the right questions, because I never got this reaction from her before. One of the things she screamed at me was something like, "Why the heck are you pestering me? I bet you never knew a freaking surprise in your whole childhood." No, scratch that. I know you never had a freaking surprise in your whole childhood. So now whenever I get a gift, you get all jealous. Is that it, right? Then she started iterating how my parents were awful at raising me and everything. I told her that was unprovoked and that I just wanted her to be careful when eating outside, even more so if she didn't know where the food comes from. I'll repeat myself as many times as necessary. We never fought like this. In 10 years, she never screamed at me or insulted me like this. I told her to please not insult me or my parents because I'm just trying to talk. She screamed, "Then what the hell do you want from me?" And guys, I told her the stupidest thing ever, to please eat my food, or tell me whenever you are gonna eat outside so I won't cook. Her answer? Then don't freaking cook for F's sake. I asked her to please stop screaming at me and told her that it wasn't like that. I was concerned that she was receiving food without knowing the source, and I didn't like wasting food. At this point, I was still acting as if everything was about her not eating my food. The whole interchange lasted less than 15 minutes, but it was enough to trigger her like I've never seen before in 10 years. Follow-up update a few hours later. So, she was seeing an ex from years ago. This chick started to send her not only food, but gifts, because suddenly she wanted to reignite stuff or whatever. But no, it wasn't sudden at all. They started just talking like 8 years ago, and gifts started a couple years ago too. Wife got bi-curious because she, and I quote, wanted to taste the touch of a woman again. So they slept together multiple times since years ago. Please don't misunderstand me. This isn't a post about that. I'm not hating anyone for their preferences. But you don't do that when you are married. Or better yet, you talk to your partner. Hey, I'm curious about this or that. Can we do anything about it if it's good with you? Something like that. Communication. Told her so. But I pressed for her to come full clean. Mind you, this is after 2+ hours discussing these issues. And you are also not going to believe this. After some more talking, she told me, "You want clean? I'll give you clean." Sleeping with her ex triggered a craving for different people. She slept with a male coworker of hers in a past job like 5 years ago. Slept with another male ex of hers. Slept with a chick from a club. Slept with a chick from that same job. And slept with her latest ex. All while we were already married. I asked why. Her answer? She wanted to feel wanted by everyone. Was I not enough? Hard no. Maybe if I could change the shape of my penis on command, but that wouldn't even be enough. Because she wanted to try different bodies and things like that. Why marry me? I'm a good person and she wanted someone as stable as me. Why do that to a good person then? It's only sex, but it's important for me. She says, "Grow up. I have needs. I know it's a big deal for you, that's why I never tell you." Tell me, as in present time. Yes, she was still in contact with most of her F buddies, but more so her exes. Why not try everything she wanted, then date me, then marry me? She told me the stupidest thing. She was calling dibs on me. Guys, I didn't have any other lovers or anything. She was competing for me versus no one. I could have waited for her 1, 5, or 10 years. Told her, "I'm gone then." Her answer, "Have fun." What did I do to you to be treated like this? Nothing, but I'm seriously tired of pretending, having to hide, lie, and you pestering me about this stuff was the last straw. She told me that if I never started to get weird about food, I wouldn't ever know, and we could still be happy. Told her it isn't my fault. She responded, "I know, but you ruined your own status quo." As in, I'm happy like this. You ruined it for you by pestering me. Last question. Then why act all mysterious with the food? If she had just told me, "Oh, it's from the company or a friend," everything would have stayed the same. Answer? Freaking grow up, please. What the heck happened to my wife? I was never treated like this. I now know that my trust for her was so big I was blind to a bunch of signs. What signs? I still don't freaking know. But she said all that as if it was all under my nose. Why she exploded after 10 years? And why just after I started bettering myself for her? Why not before? Or later for that matter? Dude married a psychopath. Bummer. I say the mask slipped, and she went all out in showing him who she is. I think she was baiting him because she actually wanted the relationship to end, but didn't want to be the one to outright break up. Texting him everything and trying to make him jealous is definitely provoking him on her part. It's pure contempt. Her contempt for him overpowered any other emotion she had for him. Wait, if she requires multiple people, why not date a poly person? Or someone who's open to an open relationship? Why did she go for a monogamous person? Because she wanted him to be monogamous, of course. Last story. My wife said she does not owe me intimacy, plus update. And she is right. She does not owe me sex just because I am her husband, but I cannot take it anymore. Sexual incompatibility is hell. I have been busy drafting divorce documents with my lawyer this week. I believe it's best if we separate because we became incompatible after some time. 4 years of marriage, both in early 30s. Hormone test came up normal. I begged her for marriage counseling with sex therapy. I did everything she pointed out. She came with other excuses. Since the beginning of the relationship, we take turns handling laundry and dishes. For the other tasks, we have our own responsibilities for different rooms/tasks. It is not just the sexual department as well. She does not seem to be into having non-sexual intimacy either recently. Countless discussions and nothing in the end. It was not like that in the beginning, so I'm not sure what happened. Marriage counseling and sexual therapy did not work either. She seems happy in the relationship and daily life, but I am not. We had sex only 2 times since the beginning of this year. She mentioned we should try having kids at the beginning of this week, and I got annoyed. What am I? Something kept for only breeding? I will give her the divorce notice documents next Monday, and I am torn the relationship will end like that. I'll also leave the house as soon as possible. However, I am sure I'm doing both of us a favor in the long run. We should separate before having kids. Just wanted to vent and get opinion from a neutral point of view. Now for the top comments before reading the update. That's crazy she's considering having kids with you, and you were considering divorce. 2 people living together yet so far apart. Yeah, it's the most messed up thing in this. That's crazy to me, especially as they had therapy and nothing changed. Why would you want to have kids with a man you know isn't happy? Maybe she thinks he'll stick around with a kid or that will placate him? A kid would just give her more reasons to not want to have sex though, or his wife has zero awareness of how unhappy OP is. Regardless, it's best if they split up. Having a low libido and being asked for sex often can cause resentment on both sides. Thank you for not bringing kids into this marriage. It is obvious the resentment would grow even more in the future. Having a child in that environment would be such a cruel thing to do. When you hand her the papers, do not, I repeat, do not sleep with her. One poster did that, and she ended up pregnant. He did one thing we all tell people not to do. He didn't want to leave after that. Sure enough, sex stopped right after the revelation. Stick to your guns if you're going to do this. Get ready for the hysterical bonding. It's coming. She's going to be all over you and promising change. Once she's comfortable that you're back, it will go back to the way it was, with most likely a child on the way. Now for the update. She got the notice papers this Monday and she was shocked. I explained her in detail and thoroughly why I came to that decision. I pointed out every previous discussion we had, how there were no efforts from her side, and we are simply incompatible in the end. There was crying and arguments again. I also told her I would be going back to my hometown to settle in my premarital house. It was my mom's, but after she passed away, we shared it 50-50 with my sister, though I gave my share to my sister later. We had to move to our current city due to my wife's job. A lot happened that day, but I will not give details as they were mostly personal. Next day, I started packing important things, and out of a sudden, my wife became the most sexual person on the planet. She came to me with lingeries, toys, costumes, and approached me. I am going to be honest, I had a very hard time resisting, but rejected her advances every time. She is the woman I love and desire after all, but I do not think staying in this marriage will be healthy for either of us. I'm currently staying at a hotel with my important belongings. I changed my passwords and handled other shared things. My sister will come next week to get me, and I believe I'll be staying at her place in our hometown for a while. At least until beds and furniture are delivered to the house. Some Redditors pointed out that she may be cheating on me, but she did not give me reason to be suspicious of. I trust her fully. I just wish we were more compatible in the intimacy department. She is trying to reach out to me, but I reject her calls and do not read her texts. I may need few days of peace and silence to get myself ready for everything upcoming. Thank you for the advices and suggestions on the last thread. Take care. Well done for being strong when she confronted you with everything you had been wishing she would. That was a good choice. Giving in would have prolonged this cul-de-sac in both of your lives and caused lots of harm in the end. The hardest part of someone changing is knowing they could have been doing it the whole time, but they chose not to. They didn't care when it was hurting you, only when it hurts them. Yeah, this is what OP needs to remember more than anything. She was perfectly capable of turning on the sexual charm but chose not to until it affected her. I commented on your previous post where I told you she'd suddenly want to work on intimacy once she was served. I am happy you didn't succumb to her attempts. It is not genuine. It is a facade, and she will keep this up. Be strong and don't fall for it. It is just a surface-level attempt at giving you what you wanted all the time you were married. It's the panic at work. Once the foundation of a thing has broken, you can't just catch up on maintenance. And it's a lesson people discover time and time again. Even if they genuinely want to fix things, it's too late. Horses have bolted, buses left. Update. I was told by my wife that she wants a break. Original post. I, 28 male, and my wife, 27 female, have been together for 7 years and married for almost 2. We have a beautiful 1-year-old, and I thought everything was perfect for us. It's been a rough week, but I was informed that she wanted a break between us. It came out of left field, and I was lost on what could have happened. She expressed that she needed space to think about what she wants to do, and to find herself again. Since I am the sole provider for our family, she has had all the time at home to take care of our child, while also having the freedom to relax. She said she wasn't sure who she was anymore, since her identity had changed from who she was before to being a mom. I understand that having a child is a very big moment, and that it dramatically changes our dynamic and relationship. But she expressed that I have not met her needs, and that she has no love for me nor feels happy with me anymore. I'm not her safe space, even though I have been trying so hard to provide for and give love to both my child and my wife. I work 10 to 12 plus hours a day, and whenever I am home, whether on my day off or right after work, I make sure to take care of our child, so she has time to do what she wants and to have her own space, as I understand that being a stay-at-home mom is not easy. It's also worth noting that everything we have isn't joint. We don't own a house together and we just live in an apartment. She has been talking to a new friend group in an online video game for a while now, long before she told me she wanted to take a break from me. I noticed that she had been talking to this new guy, and I was concerned since they would talk all day and all night. I expressed my concerns, and she just said that he was like a brother to her. I trust my wife, and I didn't think I needed to talk to this guy and tell him that she was married because I trusted her to shut things down if necessary. A day after she told me she wanted a break, I did my best to give her space so she could think about her feelings, but it just seemed to me that she wanted to spend all her time talking to this guy and her new friend group. I was told that her friend group and this guy knew she was married, and I didn't want to assume the worst. But a few hours later, a good friend of mine informed me that she had been oversharing her needs, both emotional and sexual, and saying that I no longer met them. But this guy could. She said that they had more compatibility, even though she had never met him in real life. I was devastated to hear this, because I thought I had done everything I could to make her happy, providing a home and food for our family. Later that night, I checked the call logs and texts between them, and to my surprise, they had been sending explicit messages, asking each other sexual questions, and comparing me to him. It even reached the point where they were getting off together while on chat or a phone call. She later found out that I knew about everything and apologized for her actions, but she still wants to talk to this guy because she's worried about his mental state after I caught them in the act. From the very beginning of this break, it feels like my feelings were never considered. I just have to focus on my child to get through this, even though I'm the one providing for the home while she openly talks and video chats with this guy. I know she's craving attention since he's the one giving it to her, but she doesn't see that me providing for our family is an expression of love. I want this marriage to work because I love her, even though she emotionally cheated and we have a child together. But it's so hard to find the will to keep trying when she's talking to this guy whenever I'm at work, and even when I come home. Is it my fault that she's seeking attention from someone she's never met? Should I have done a better job showing her the love she deserves? I regret any instance where she mentioned that I wasn't showing her love the way she wanted. I'm willing to work on myself and keep fighting for our marriage, but she has no reason nor will to make it work because she doesn't believe I will change. If we went to marriage counseling, it wouldn't be beneficial for her since she no longer sees any love toward me, and I'm not her safe space anymore. But this new guy is? She shows no will to make this work. I understand that no one is perfect, but I feel like any suggestion or action I take is just for nothing. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. It's not going to work. Not only has she cheated on you, but she clearly doesn't want you anymore. I'd suggest gathering information and seeing if you could keep the house and the child as you're the provider. Not saying to leave her on the streets, but hopefully her new guy can take her in. You seem like an amazing father and husband, and you deserve so much better. Thankfully, they rent and don't share assets. She also doesn't seem interested in being a mom. Divorce and determining custody shouldn't be too difficult. She has been emotionally cheating. She didn't communicate. She only told you about a break after she got attention from someone else. She wants a break to be able to cheat without guilt. Call her out. Tell her she asked for a break, but she is talking to another man. That's not finding herself. That's jumping on another pin. Will she be taking your son to go find herself in the arms of another man? Will she have her answers after having sex with a stranger once? Twice? Are you going to wait for her to find her answers? What are your values? Your boundaries come from your values. Is honesty and integrity important to you? If they are, what are you going to do about your wife lying to you? If she is spending time trying to create a connection with another man, she is not focusing on her son. What are her priorities? Ask questions, and don't let her give you vague answers. Anger is a sign that someone is violating a boundary, or that a want or need is not being met. Are you able to feel your anger? Remember, boundaries teach people how to treat you. I'd avoid this. There is no point in trying to talk logic into people like this. OP's focus should be his child and his own safety. A mate of mine was in a similar situation. Engaging like this just got the police called on him because she threw out false accusations of DV and had him kicked out of his own home due to a temporary protection order. He was eventually proven innocent, but it was months and months of heartache to prove it, only to then have to go through a settlement. His wife doing this has already proven that he and their child aren't a priority, and it can get messy quickly. OP should focus on the legal battle that is to come and look at protecting himself from such possibilities. Now for the first update. I honestly didn't think this would get so many comments and views. I'm also surprised at how often this happens and how big the internet really is. Thank you for taking the time to read what I've been feeling. No, I'm not saying I'm perfect, far from it, and there are faults that I have to work on to be a better partner in the future. I understand that only providing isn't the only thing that matters when raising a child and keeping a family together. There are many instances where I wish I had done more and should have done more so she would feel special and chased like she wanted. There's only so much that people can do, and I see that she was just looking for the missing attention that I wasn't giving her. Unfortunately, she has a mindset that I'm not going to change, or that I don't have it in me to meet her needs, and no longer sees any romantic feelings toward me. At this point, like many people mentioned, there's only so much I can do, but I need to focus on my child's safety and well-being. I have to stand up and show her that if this is what she wants, then so be it. Unfortunately, that means we weren't meant to be, but that doesn't erase all the good memories we had together throughout the years. My main priority is our child and my own well-being. If I can't keep my head up and have respect for myself, then how can I be there for my child? I've also gone gray rock and now only ask for updates regarding the child whenever I'm at work. I talked to my employer about reducing my hours so I can work 8 to 9 hours a day, depending on whether I stay longer for customers, sales. I've gotten in contact with a few lawyers and will be calling them to ask questions about what to expect and to get more guidance. I'll keep you guys posted if this is still interesting to you. Thank you for your comments and for the sincere support while I go through this. Edit. For those wondering, yes, I have screenshots of messages and call logs, including timestamps and the duration of the calls. I always have access to call logs since I'm the main account holder for our phone plan. They're still calling and video chatting, so I'm just racking it up to have more references. Messages are obviously explicit and concerning. I haven't read all of them, but ever since I first checked her phone, she changed the passcode. So now I'm just relying on messages on Discord on her computer. Whenever I get a chance, I'll snoop until I feel like I have enough. Yes, her family knows the whole situation and doesn't understand why this is happening or why she's so willing to go for this dude. Now she's trying to justify her cheating by claiming that I cheated, based on a mark she supposedly gave me but doesn't remember giving? How does it make sense that I would be up doing dishes at 5 a.m. when I wake up early to take care of our child? This just shows another example of how she doesn't want to take accountability for her actions and is shifting the blame. I'm 100% open to taking a polygraph at this point just to prove her wrong and make her realize what she's doing or thinking. If you work so many hours, I don't know how can you spend more time with her if she doesn't want to work, so both parents able to have their free time for the family. I don't see how it can work. I am glad you make up your mind. She is just using him as a doormat and an easy life. I've been that doormat. Get out now. People must have been telling you should have chased her more. Sure, she deserves attention, but if she never had a conversation about it, the cheating isn't your fault. It's not your fault regardless. Just keep your head up and work on getting over her so you can move on. Second update. A lot has happened since the last update, but I have started to focus on my well-being and mental state while also making sure my child gets the love and attention she deserves. I came back home from the gym, showered, and started spending time with my child when my soon-to-be ex-wife decided to leave her computer unattended. I was already being dragged into her friend group's drama, and I noticed a few messages being sent on her phone, which is linked to her computer. They were filled with hateful messages, saying that I'm trying too hard to win her back. She mocked the fact that I went to therapy, saying, "He's trying so hard that it's cringe." She also admitted that she was purposefully ignoring me because she doesn't want to be involved with me, all while laughing with her friends about what I was doing. The irony is, I'm not doing all this for her. I have accepted that I need to move on, be the best dad for my child, and learn to co-parent. But for her to act civil to my face while trash-talking me to all her friends and the guys she's still in contact with, referring to me as her ex, I finally blew up. She asked, "What does everyone think is going to happen?" That right there told me she was only going to therapy and counseling just to check it off a list. There was never any real intention to save the marriage. I told her that if she wants to leave so badly and be with this guy, she should go ahead and leave. She chose to step out of this marriage and family. She has until the end of February to move out, and the baby is staying here. She asked if she could visit and see her child, and I said, "Yes, you're her mother. Just let me know when you want to see her. I'm not preventing you from seeing your child. I want her to know that at the end of the day, you're her mother, and I'm her father." She agreed and said she'd be out of my hair as soon as she could. Keep in mind, all of this was happening while she was on the phone with her new babe. So yeah, that's the update. I'm not trying to be a doormat, but enough is enough. I'm still in contact with lawyers, but it seems like she's just willing to let everything go to the point where I might not even need one. However, I will still do my due diligence to protect myself and my child. Has she said to you what you did to make her fall out of love with you, and now she's at the point of mocking you? Not providing her enough love or feel chased to her needs. Which again, I take full responsibility that I have not done the best on that, and I was more than willing to work on it and go to therapy to be a better husband to her. Hence why I've been going to therapy to make this marriage work, but since first update, Her main focus was just moving on and being with this new dude and just rub it in my face. Unfortunately, I just had enough of the disrespect when I'm trying to keep this family together. Get a lawyer. Let her leave the house and do not contact her whatsoever after she leaves. Don't call her to come see her kid. Don't call her for anything. Tell her that all contact is to go through text or email and nothing else. It's going to help when it comes to gaining full custody in the divorce. Get on that divorce quickly. Don't waste any more time that you absolutely have to. Again, this will help you greatly. It will allow you to take advantage of her current mood. Believe me, I was there. Don't mess around. Handle business quickly and without consideration for her. Agree completely, and if you can, get her to text you something, saying you'll have full custody as long as she can visit. That will be helpful to you. Even a text is better than he said she said in court. I'm sorry for your daughter. Last update. She's leaving next week and is still completely invested in this other guy. She even had the audacity to ask if she could get birth control through my insurance, and I declined because the main reason she wants it is so she can do whatever she wants with him. He's trying to get his own place so she can move in with him, and she's driving all the way there. It's still a wild situation, but at least we are in agreement when it comes to our child. The divorce papers have been written and filed, along with the custody agreement we agreed upon. Everyone in the family is disappointed and frustrated with the situation, but there's only so much we can do. She's not willing to listen to anyone else besides her new guy and her friend group. Either way, I hope she finds happiness with him, but if it goes south, she's not coming back. Last story. My fiancé ruined our engagement because she wants an open relationship. My fiancé 24 female just told me 23 male that she wants to explore herself with other people. We started dating in 2017 and had been going strong since. My fiancé, well, I guess now ex-fiancé, and I have been through hell together. Every time she freaked out, I was there. Every time she needed a shoulder to cry on, I was there. A couple of years back, she and I checked out a LARP and met a group of people who were all polyamorous. She and I had many in-depth discussions about how I was uncomfortable with the subject because I felt that it breeds jealousy and preys on the weak who just want more people around for security. She agreed at the time and assured me it was just me and her forever, so I built my life around her. Whenever I met someone new, I talked about my lovely fiancé, who was just finishing her social work master's degree. Or every time I faced someone at a tournament, I would show them a picture of my cats and her. Well, Monday comes, and I grab a flower and head home to see her. I plan to watch her favorite movie and cuddle with her all day when she suddenly says, "We need to talk." I sit down and she says, "I have been thinking about this for the past month and a half, and I am going to see other people." I realized that while talking about how we are going to get married, my whole heart wasn't in it. And after exploring those feelings, I've realized I want more. This broke me, as this was the one thing that was a deal breaker for me. I immediately pleaded, "Anything, please, just for us to figure something out." But she just said, "I need to explore myself." She also told me she never cheated, never thought of anyone else, and doesn't have anyone planned to see. I don't know what to do because she was my everything. Everything I talked about. Every move I made was for us. I don't know why I'm posting here. Maybe just to see if there is something I'm missing or if there is something else I can do. Now for the top advice. Probably not what you want to hear right now, but be thankful it's now, instead of 3 to 4 years and 1 to 2 kids later deciding she wants out. Definitely this. You probably don't feel it, but you are very young at just 23. Go to therapy and talk this out of your system so you don't take baggage into your next relationship. Start dating when you're ready and take it slowly. Maintain interests and friendships outside of the relationship. You'll be fine. You've dodged a bullet. You'll see this when you're older and more experienced. To me, that didn't sound like I want an open marriage. It sounded like I need space and want to date around, so sounds like she wants to break up. She did indeed mean it that way. She says she wants to do this and knows I'm uncomfortable with it. I know my boundaries though, and we are now through. The heck is there to explore? It's literally just sex. The time to have been a trollop was before establishing a long-term relationship. Sorry this happened to you, bro. Better to find out before marriage or kids, though. Well, the thing is, she was scared of sex. She was extremely terrified of getting pregnant on accident, so we had to have 3 forms of protection. We ended up finally doing something a month ago, but apparently that was while she was thinking about being poly as well.